I think it's silly and irrelevant. The Hallis Hall that I was raised in was non-comparable.
Morning, Tom. How are you?
Jonathan, Dionne, it's nice to talk to you,
Dionne.
as always.
Dionne?
Turn your mic on, Dionne. Always good to talk to you, Tom. How are you?
Thanks. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm
doing
good.
great.
I'm good.
So I don't know if you are aware of the hijinks around here, Tom Thayer, regarding Hot Dog Day a few days ago. It was Hot Dog Day at the station, where you had John Yurkovich, Yurko, you had Carmen, and you had Abdallah, all in a hot dog eating contest. I would say it was paying off a fantasy football punishment. Yurko won. What was it, Shay? 11 hot dogs. He knocked it down. 11.
12 hot dogs.
12 hot dogs. Abdallah somewhere around, I think, 10.
11 for Abdallah.
11 for Abdallah.
And 6 for Carm.
And 6 for Carm. Okay. At this point in time, how many hot dogs could you knock down in a 24-hour period?
All right. From somewhere or homemade? Just let me know that first.
Okay.
Are they brought in from somewhere?
They were Vienna beef, right? Hot dogs.
Yeah.
And they had them in one of those hot dog carts, like in water, that had been sitting there all day.
If I got mentally prepared for it, I could probably go, 12 to 14. I remember one time as a kid, maybe a senior in high school or something, I went to a hot dog picnic, and there are Oscar Mayer hot dogs right off the grill.
Mm-hmm.
And I ate like 15.
Oh, my God.
Because you could eat as many as you wanted. The buns were perfect. The hot dogs were perfect. And, I come from a big family. That's the end of the food chain. And when you get that opportunity, you take full advantage of it.
That is awesome.
So you knock it down. That's how you do it, Tommy. You just knock it down.
Sir.
I said, like, at this point in time, 6 to 8. This is with the bun, too, by the way, like mustard, whatever you want. Yeah.
In a 24-hour period?
Yeah.
I
Easy.
This may not shock either of you, but I cannot remember the last time I had a hot dog.
Well, I mean, you got to start living, Dionne. I mean,
well,
come
I
on.
guess apparently I'm missing out.
Come on
Well,
now.
24-hour period, the number would be unlimited.
Well, right.
Because you could eat a lot, then, get yourself hungry again, then eat as many as you just ate.
Yes.
Like Carm eating 6, he didn't really apply himself or he didn't commit. He was watching his figure and being responsible.
Yes.
Where eventually you're in an eating contest, responsibility has to go out the window.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yes.
This guy was running the back stairs of this building. He was like working out and all that. Say, hey, Rocky, it's a hot dog eating contest.
It's a hot dog eating contest.
You should have saw him, Tom.
He was eating blueberries in the middle of the day, saying he had to reset his system with antioxidants. I'm like, what am I listening to right now?
Speaking of, he was not mentally prepared for what it takes in a moment like that.
No.
He should be ashamed of himself.
Could you imagine
6?
that, Tom, having blueberries in a hot dog? There's no way we'd be doing that.
Not a chance. Listen, if I know beforehand that I'm committed to a hot dog eating contest, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And like Dionne, I'm hot dogs aren't a part of my every day or every week routine. But if I have a chance to have an open amount of hot dogs, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm shooting for 15 and hoping I can eat that many.
Well, you will be invited to the next. Did you participate in the Combine?
Dionne, when I went to the Combine, we had 3 of them. We had one in Tampa, we had one in Seattle, and we had one in Detroit.
Oh, interesting.
And I love the Combine, man. I look forward to it. So I would try to put myself in the group of the alpha guys like Jimbo Covert, Dave Remington, Bruce Matthews. There was a guard from North Carolina, Dave Dreschler, that was an All-American. So I tried to put myself in the best group to kind of showcase my confidence.
Awesome.
And it got me drafted in the 4th round, and I was super disappointed because I was doing bigger numbers than the other guys.
Wow.
That's a lot of alpha males there. You said Bruce Matthews.
Oh, my
Jimbo.
goodness.
Oh, my God. And then you.
And we had other guys, too. We had Don Mosbar, who was a first-rounder from USC that went to the Raiders. We had a glut of other guys as well, but you could put yourself in position at the combines of the past. And, like I said, man, I enjoyed the heck out of them.
Was it the same sort of test and evaluation process that they kind of go through now?
Yeah, it was kind of fun though. So we went down to Tampa. We did 225 as many times as we could. I could do that 100. And then we went to the second combine. We went to Detroit. And when we went to Detroit, Clyde Emmerich was in charge of the weightlifting.
No
and
way.
so Clyde Emmerich said, okay, the running backs and the DBs and these other guys, they're going to do 225 pounds, but the offense and defensive linemen are going to do 275. And some of the guys couldn't bench 275.
Wow.
And so I went down there, and I remember Clyde giving me a lift off, and I did it 19 times. And when I got up, Clyde goes, good lift, good lift. And I go, man, this is awesome. I'm glad we finally jumped it up a little bit from 225, because if you're a weightlifter, 225 is really your second set. You go 135, which is one plate, and then you go to 225.
Wow.
And so when he bumped it up like that, it put the fear of God in some of the guys that weren't weightlifters in college.
That's just amazing.
That's incredible.
Tom Thayer with us here on the Cap and J Hood Morning Show. Dionne is in for Cap. Ben Johnson spoke to Waddle and Silva the other day and talked about a number of things, including what excites him most about working with Caleb Williams.
I think the ability to improvise and create on his own.
Yeah.
He feels the pass rush. He's able to break the pocket, break tackles in the process if necessary. But his ability to throw the ball accurately outside of the pocket, I see explosive plays all over the place.
How do you, though, balance that with him also playing on time and playing in the structure of what you're going to ask him to do?
Right. Well, that's the trust level, too. He's got to trust what we're trying to get done. We'll talk about it once he gets in, the intent of the play. What are we trying to do? And whether he can trust to stay in the pocket just to take longer to deliver it to number 2 in the progression, or does he need to get out of there and go ahead and extend it? Because that natural playmaking ability, that's part of what makes him special. We don't want to take that away from him. And so I think there's some things we can do to actually help augment that when he does naturally do that, in terms of some rules we can have once he breaks the pocket, to where we're getting guys open for him down the field as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a weapon.
So, Tom, just based on the conversation that Ben Johnson had with Waddle and Sylvie, to me it felt like we're going to break Caleb all the way down to the studs and build him back up again. Whatever bad habits he had or whatever he was told by 2 or 3 different people on the offensive side of the football that he had to deal with last year, we're going to get him right by giving him step-by-step what he needs to do to get the ball out quickly and all those other things. What stands out about what he just said there to you?
It's very Patrick Mahomes-like. Patrick Mahomes, if you get a 100% pie chart of an offense, 60% of the time he follows the plan accordingly, at his final drop step. 40% of the time he becomes a quarterback that is able to escape pressure, get outside the pocket, anticipate how a route's going to be broken off. And you're not going to be able to coach a quarterback for 100% of the plays. You're going to give him 100% of the playbook, and 60% of the time the protection's going to meet the route process. That's going to meet the anticipation and an accurate throw. But then there's going to be 40% of the time where you're in second long or you're third and long that you're not going to be able to have that perfect structure of the play, where the quarterback is going to have to become the player that you coached him to be. And I thought that was a great answer by Ben Johnson, that you're not going to, as perfectly as you want to create this quarterback, he's going to have to be that outside the structure of the offense quarterback probably 30 to 40% of the time. So I was encouraged that he knows what he's seen already, and he knows how to, like you said, take it down to the studs and rebuild it.
So what does that mean for Caleb? Is it essentially like another rookie year? I mean, he's starting over. They're truly starting over with the foundation underneath him.
It's going to be another rookie year, Dionne, because of the terminology is all going to be new. And I think that's the most difficult part in the process of making sure everybody is on the same page, because you're not only teaching the terminology to the quarterback, every coach is learning it for the first time. And then you're taking every position group is learning it for the first time. And now the coaches have to commit themselves to understanding and learning the terminology so they can go into a classroom of a bunch of confused faces and make sure that he can teach it up there inside the film session or inside the meeting room when he's up there drawing it on the board and showing the specific designs of the play. And when you're designing plays, you kind of go up there and you tell everybody what their assignment is, and you show them what their responsibility is. But as the play develops, you don't know exactly where that linebacker is going to be at the second level or where that defensive tackle is going to end up lining up. So you got to understand what your assignments are. You got to understand who you're working with. And then you have to kind of repetitiously learn how all these plays will unfold against the, 10 or 12 different defenses that you're going to face during the course of the year, according to the different groupings of personnel that you're facing.
We've not spoken to you since the Bears released Walker on the defensive line and Everett at tight end. First with a tight end, as you well know, Tom, it was controversial in the city and among Bears fans why Cole Kmet didn't get enough touches, especially early in the Waldron administration. Didn't make any sense. Cole's a solid tight end, not great, but again, solid tight end that didn't get the ball enough, and it kept going to Everett in key spots. I didn't understand that. And then from DeMarcus Walker's standpoint, look, I mean, we talked about it earlier today. When the defensive line had 0 players in the top 30 in pressures, that's a major problem. And so hopefully they'll improve that. So on both ends, what do you think of those two cuts?
First of all, I think Cole Kmet was the most underutilized offensive player in the league last year. And I think Dionne and I talked about it in the pregame ad nauseum, in hoping that he was going to be the guy that would be averaging 10 targets a game, because I think he deserves that. So I think his upside is still coming with this next offensive regime. And Gerald Everett, I don't know what he was, because he's not a great inline blocker. He's not a great backside. He's not didn't perform at H-back, and he was really a non-contributor of, short yardage and goal line offense. And no offense to Gerald Everett, I think he's got the athleticism, and there's somewhere out there's an offense that's going to fit him best. And so to me, it's, what are you going to do to build this tight end position behind Cole Kmet going forward? And when Ben Johnson said he met Cole Kmet for the first time and he got that handshake and he kind of understood what this guy is going to be able to offer this offense. And so I'm all in with Cole, and I think he's got a tremendous upside. One thing about DeMarcus Walker, what I was disappointed in is the first year he came aboard to the Bears, and out at OTAs in those practices, he was kind of like that instigator attitude that you need to have on the defensive line. And I used to sit out there with Jeff going, God, he reminds me a lot of a McMichael, where he's going to come out there during stretching and stuff, and he's going to instigate the offensive lineman. He's going to talk trash out there that's kind of relentless. And I like that because I think that's needed in the process of team development, because you need that guy that kind of elevates everybody around him. And the lack of production on the defensive line, kind of hindered, all the veterans on this team that, we're going to be evaluated by a new coaching staff. And so I think DeMarcus Walker will be somewhere in the league. But I was more disappointed that he got injured early in his career here and wasn't able to be active on the field in participating in all drills and practices.
Did you see the NFLPA grades that were revealed and where the Bears stack up in those? Did you get to see those, Tom?
I didn't look at them, in totality, but I have heard a lot of the pros and cons around the league of what's said about the Bears and other teams.
What are your thoughts on these polls and them releasing these things and the impact it might have on free agents wanting to come to the Bears, or just what actions the franchise takes to improve some of these grades?
I think it's silly and irrelevant. Wow. Because, it's like Ditka used to say, this is not a democracy, this is a dictatorship, and I am in charge. And so I think when you're looking at a lot of these guys being able to talk about their organization or the different processes that the organizations go through without putting their name behind it. It gives them a little bit more behind the scenes courage. And if that's the case, if you're not happy with something that's going on inside the building, then I would imagine that Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, George McCaskey, they all have an open door where these guys can go in and state their stress or their frustration of what they think they're not doing well, because the Hallis Hall that I was raised in and the campus of Hallis Hall that they have now is non-comparable. And I think these guys have first-class opportunities in every way, shape, or form. So I couldn't sit there and complain about it. If I was the guy that I was back in the day, I would probably never leave the facility, and I'd probably live in the parking lot. That's how awesome it is up there.
Wow.
Yeah. Having said that, your old team, Tom, the Miami Dolphins, straight A's. They had an A in everything: treatment of families, food and dining area, nutrition, locker room, training staff, head coach, weight room, strength coaches, A's across the board.
Yeah, listen, Jay Hood, when I left the Bears and I went down to play my last year for Miami, when I was with the Bears, we didn't have a cafeteria. We didn't have food offerings. So you kind of were self-sufficient. Our weight room was the size of what a classroom is today, but we got the job done. When I went out to Miami and they had an indoor and outdoor pool, indoor and outdoor hot tub, they had a significantly bigger weight room. They had 3 meals a day that they were offering you. So it was kind of like I had a taste of what the other side is like, and I enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed the experience that I had in Chicago with the guys I played with, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Tom, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you, Dionne.
Bye.